that I get. Okay? But this morning here, we are going to continue. Maybe I should take the scarf off. I am up. I don't need it. I don't need it. Okay? There we go. All right. So this morning, we are going to continue doing what we do each morning, and that is read the Bible. We are currently on the book of Revelation. We have been coming from the book of Genesis. And for those of you who have been here with us from the time we started reading, I want to say thank you for sticking with me all this time. It's been 36 months. Yes, it's been 36 months since we started reading the Bible. And here we are right now at Revelation. It's going to be just a few days before we are finished with reading the Bible from the beginning to the end. And guys, I've got to tell you, the Bible has been quite an eye opener for me. Because remember, this was my journey. It is from my curiosity. It is from my curiosity that I embarked on this journey, because I said to myself, you know something, I have been like a one verse bandit all my life. And when I say a one verse bandit, I've been like the people who grabs the Bible and you just say one verse. Since I was as young as I can remember, I've been taught Psalm 91. I know it back and forth. I just say Psalm 91 just like that. But throughout my years of going to church and getting baptized and backsliding and getting thrown out of church and all these things, I've always been curious about, what does the Bible really say? How does the content of the Bible affect my life? When people say I need to follow everything that is in the Bible. And so this curiosity has led me to start this journey of reading the Bible from the beginning to the end, so that I can understand its contents. I can understand what the storyline is, who is talking at what point, to whom are they speaking, and what are the circumstances surrounding whatever utterances they make. And ultimately to determine how does these utterances of thousands of years ago affect my life today. And so I decided to do this journey out loud. And I'm sorry to those of you on the top, but I at the time I wasn't even thinking. Carrie, what's up? Good morning, sugar. At that time, I wasn't even thinking of the talk, because number one, at that point, I was still a little bit in my shell when it comes to being online, But now, I would say out of the shell, I really don't worry anymore about like what you are going to say, what you are going to think. I don't worry about y'all no more. It's not y'all, not no. I don't worry about what you are, because there's always going to be differing opinions no matter what. If you come out, you say something good. If you come out, you say something questionable. If you come out, you say something controversial. Whatever it is, there's always going to be people here who got something to say. So everybody's free to say what they want to say, and that is why everybody have the opportunity to have their own platform. So if you're not comfortable with what I say on my platform, then this may not be the place for you. Don't get your britches in a bundle. Don't come over here to get upset. Just don't come. You see what I mean, Cares? Just tell them for me. Just don't come. Because if you go in a space that makes you uncomfortable, just don't go back. But you know that when you come on my platform, especially when I'm reading the Bible, there is going to be some controversy. There's somebody who's going to be upset. Because one thing people do not like, they do not like when you question their Bible, because they want everybody to be like sheep. Just do, just go. If you all were here when I read the book, um, if you all were here when I read the book, The Alchemist, you would have seen with Santiago. He said he had all these sheep, and he said the sheep are just so loyal. They ask no questions. They don't have a mind of their own. He could start slaying them one by one, and it wouldn't be until he has slain the last one that they would realize what was happening. Yeah, that's how sheep are. Y'all don't like when people question what they are reading or what you're trying to feed them. You all want them to just take it, swallow it, and ask no questions. But I gotta ask questions, and over the years, I've asked questions for which I haven't gotten an answer. So I decided, well, I gotta read the Bible again. Let me see if I can get the answers for myself. And so far, the Bible remains questionable. The people in the Bible who I see have been elevated, they had questionable lifestyles, even by their own social structure at the time. But yet these people were considered to be the right people. These people are the ones who were pushed up as the leaders and the people that should be followed, and these are the ones you should keep on a pedestal. And I'm like, oh Lord Jesus, is this Bible going to be consistent with me, or is this Bible just going to take me round and round and round? Okay, we saw Moses. You know, like when we talk about Moses, you know, we saw Moses. Moses was one hell of a smart cult leader. One hell of a smart cult leader. Because Moses was able to take these people. And by the way, the person who come tell me, who came in my inbox and was telling me that God talked to Moses and everything that Moses said, God told him was true. You notice I'm going to answer to you? I'm going to answer to you because it's clear to me that you are one of them sheep who haven't read anything. You just get up and say something. Many of the things that Moses told the people were not true. Now, God not tell Moses nothing. Okay? Because, you see, maybe it is my ideology of what a God is supposed to be, and my expectations of what a God is supposed to do. Maybe that is what is causing the hindrance why I can't comprehend the things that Moses told the people. You notice how brutal Moses' punishments were? And yet still, he continues to tell the people, you are the chosen people, you are the ones God has chosen to give the whole world to. But yet you notice how brutal the punishments were for these people. There was no grace. All they got was MURDR, rockstone, straight up rockstone. That's what they got. Or they gotta go out there and they gotta go sacrifice animals day after day, every single day. You see, like how we get up first thing in the morning now? Me get up in the morning, me can take a shower, me can do this and do that. And then I get that privilege. The first thing they gotta think about when they wake up in the morning was to go pick out the prettiest calf, the prettiest sheep, the prettiest ram, to go slaughter for the sins they had already committed, the sins they had not even yet committed, not just for them, but also for their family. Could you live like that? If you want to tell me I need to follow everything in the Bible, could you live like that? I'm sure you can't. You couldn't. You couldn't live like that. All right. Cosmic say it was the God of blood and plenty sacrifice. Exactly. Because that is what the Bible has shown to me. Because that's the content. And Moses said God told him that these things were supposed to be right. Okay, and Moses not just had, I hear people say, oh, the 10 Commandments. Moses did not just have the 10 Commandments for the people. Moses had more than 600 and something laws, precepts, and all of this for the people. And the people had to follow them, because if they did not follow them know the punishment is straight up rock stone. And I constantly say, why was it that this God was presented to us with such a brutal heart? Why? And at the same time, in the same breath, you are presenting this God to me with such a brutal heart. You are also presenting him to me and saying, okay, but he loves you. Yeah, but I'm going to tell these people to throw rocks on their head until you're dead. But I love you. I love you. Where, if you love me, where would have been the grace and the forgiveness and all of that? And you tell me that Moses was right. No. You can't convince me that he was. Let's fast forward. Somebody says, where did Moses get this from? And that is a great question. Cosmic said that's why Christians continue to be so cruel. Exactly. Let me tell you, you hear them say there's no hate like Christian love. Yeah, because when they say they love you, they can do the same thing to you like their Bible espouses. Yeah, I can love you, but I can slay you and still embrace you with love. Like, are you kidding me? Somebody asked, where did Moses get this from? This is what I've come up with. Now listen. Remember that Moses was raised in the Pharaoh's house. Moses, therefore, was privy to more education and more exposure than the ordinary descendant of Jacob. The ordinary ones, they were the slaves. They were like the nobodies in Egypt. Nobody cared for them. They were like nobodies. Moses, though, being in the Pharaoh's house, was privy to books, was privy to Egyptian religion, was privy to so much more than the rest of his people. Because remember, they were his people. He was a descendant of Jacob himself. So all that Moses learned in the Pharaoh's house, Moses realized that this information, his people did not have this information. So he could use his knowledge to manipulate them. And that's exactly what he did. He used that information he had, and the fact that he was, I'm going to say, he was more educated. Let me just put it at that. He was more educated than they were. And he used that. Okay? I said happy Sabbath. All right. I'm sure when you say happy Sabbath, you want me to say back happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Anywho, so Moses used his access to education against these people who had none. It's like you ever know somebody, like people like from a small village, and then there is this one individual from the village who has ascended to the pinnacle of academia. This person has left the community, this person has traveled abroad, this person has encountered different cultures, different languages, and this person has had different degrees and stuff. When this person returns to the village, don't you see how everybody surrounds that person? Everybody is happy for that person. Everybody lends a listening ear to whatever that person has to say, because people believe that the experience that this person has acquired from having left the village is worth something. It's like, oh my God, here we are. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't traveled anywhere. We haven't seen all these things. This person is bringing the world to us. And they are grateful. So there you have it. That was Moses. Moses manipulate people with education to set them free. Listen, listen, listen. Moses used what he had, because you see, Moses wanted to be more. Moses wanted to be considered amongst his people as somebody who was grand and great. And so he used what he had. Hey, you know, and he was able to lead these people, his people, out of Egypt. Now, you can't just take up a tribe of people and leading them when you ain't tell them where they're going. So Moses had all right. He had to tell the people, you are going somewhere. There has to be some reward at the end of this journey. I can't just take you out of slavery and just say we're going to go somewhere, but we don't know where we're going. He said, God said there was this place he was preparing for them, a place, there's this land where they were going. The kid said, but we agree he was called by God. When you say we who? I'm not sure which we you're talking about, but there ain't no we with me in it. Okay. So Moses had to tell the people. He couldn't tell the people that I, Moses, am calling you out to leave. Which me and you? Which me and you? Not me and you, honey. No, sir. Not at all. Not at all. Not no me and you, my love. Moses taking the people out of Egypt, he could not tell the people that I'm just taking you out because I'm sorry for y'all because y'all are slaves. No, he had to give the people something plausible. He had to give the people something to look forward to. And so he told them, God said there was a place that he was gonna take them, and he was gonna make them be rich and have all these things. Okay. When they left Egypt, Moses realized that, you know what? All these lands are already occupied by people. How are we going to get these lands from these people? Oh, they can't say, I'm just asking because I'm listening to your perspective. That's what I grew up on. Okay, my love. So anyway, so Moses decided that, you know what, I'm gonna take these people out of Egypt. I'm gonna be their ruler. I'm sure they're going to pay attention to me. I'm sure they're going to listen to me. I'm sure they're going to obey me because they already respect me for all that I've been doing for them while they were slaves. Because remember, even while they were slaves in Egypt, Moses was always looking out for them because they were his people. So he have already garnered their trust. They already trust him that he's looking out for them. So now when he's leading them out of Egypt, are they going to complain? No. Because guess what? They are now going to be in a place where they're going to establish themselves, have their own rule of law, and live their lives away from being slaves. So they are happy. And Moses is leading them. That's good. A journey that could have taken maybe 2 days, 3 days, took 40 years in the wilderness. You ever ask yourself why it took 40 years? People say, oh yeah, God made them take 40 years to test the people's faith. Yeah, I don't want to say all that. But Moses had a great strategy. If Moses just walked up them people with all them young children to go fight those people for their land, there's no way Moses could have won. He could not have won. So Moses made sure the people stayed in the wilderness for 40 years. You know what happened in that 40 years? Lots of children were born in that 40 years. Lots of children. Lots of boys were born during that 40 years. So when Moses decided to go to war the people for their land, he had all these soldiers to fight the war for him. That was a great strategy. Exactly, Decade. He needed the people to multiply so he would have lots of soldiers, because he knows that these lands that he's planning to take over, they're already occupied. And the people are not just going to say, oh, take it. No, the people are going to fight back. He don't have the manpower to go up against those people. They would have just annihilated him and everybody else. So Moses decided, okay, 40 years in this wilderness. I mean, we're not going to say, oh, but the Bible says God led them by day, by cloud, and by night, by fire. So God was there with them. Have you ever wondered why God would make a whole world full of people, but chose only the descendants of one man to be his chosen people? These are the only people he was going to give grace to, he was going to take care of, he was going to make their seas like the sand of the ocean, and he was going to give them everything they need, and they were not going to be want of anything. Have you all ever wondered about that? Why would God choose this one man? Have you ever asked yourself, am I the descendant of that one man? Those of you who go by the Old Testament, because we're not talking about the New Testament yet. But you ask yourself, am I the descendant of that one man that God said was only going to give? He was going to give, you know, all the riches of the earth and peace and everything that's good. That to me don't make much sense. That to me is like a mother who has 5 children and she has given everything she has to one child, but she expects the other children. It didn't look fair. Exactly, Decade. You know, exactly, it didn't look fair. Imagine a mother with 5 children and she chooses one child to give everything she has. She is able to, she knows people in high places. She introduces that one child to people in high places so that that child can be recognized and that child can grow professionally, whatever. The other 4 children, she leaves them behind. She pays them no attention. She dies and she leaves just about every single thing for the one child. But at the same time, she expects the other 4 children to take care of her. She expects the other 4 children to come around her and, you know, talk with her, to have good relationship, to have a good relationship with her. But she has made it known that this one child, regardless of what the other 4 are going to do with her or for her, she has made it clear that this one child and the descendants of this one child are the only ones of the family who she's going to give favor. Wouldn't you expect the other children to rebel? Just asking. They say, oh, but that's not God. It's not God. Whatever you want to say. Stuff got to make sense. It's got to be logical to me for me to be able to embrace it. If it's not logical, I can't embrace it. I'm not going to embrace some foolishness. Okay? And so it was with those people, in my estimation. And that is why Moses had those people in the wilderness of Zin for 40 years, because he wanted them to continue to breed. Remember, the Bible says, by the time Moses got the people out of the wilderness of Zin, it was all young people, because the majority of the people who had gone in to the wilderness with him had by then passed off. The wilderness was harsh conditions. These people who were born there, they had developed the strength and the stamina to deal with those harsh conditions in the wilderness. The people who had come with him from Egypt, not so much. They were the ones who were quarreling with him about him having taken them out of Egypt and taking them into the wilderness. They were the ones who were quarreling because they were used to something different. The ones who were born in the wilderness, that was their playground. That's where they were born, that's where they were raised. The harsh conditions in the wilderness is what they were familiar with. They could not compare those harsh conditions to anything else because that's all they knew. And so they could adjust themselves to any other harsh condition, because in the wilderness there were harsh conditions. They had manna falling out the sky. That's what they were used to. So the Bible says they were, whatever it is they were eating in the wilderness, that's what they were used to. But Moses' objective was met, because the people who went in with him had now gone old and died, and that was fine. The people now he had to go to war. The people he had to go to war were the ones who were born there. They have the stamina and the strength. They were young. They were ready to go to war. Yes, exactly. Only a few people, it was only a few people who went in the wilderness with Moses who came out. A lot of the people who came out with him, a lot of the people died in there. The people who left Egypt with him, a lot of the people who left Egypt with him died in there. But he had a strong army when they got out. He had a strong army of young, vibrant men who were strong and willing and ready to fight. Okay. When they got out of the wilderness, if you notice, when they were going, the people were so scared, and the people were like, oh, they are coming. There are hundreds and thousands of them. They are coming. There are so many of them. They scare the people. When they crossed the River Jordan and went into Jericho, what did they do? Who remember what they did? And who did they say told them to do what they did? Their God. Their God. And my question has always been, if it was so that their God was giving them land, why didn't their God give them land? Their God that is so loving and kind and peaceful and loves everybody the same, etc., etc. Why didn't their God lead them to a land that was unoccupied? Why did he lead them to a land, to lands that were already occupied, and instructed them to slay all these people? But you know what he did, what he told them to after, according to the Bible? To slay all these people, but to take the people's riches. Anything that was of value, they were instructed to take. At some point, they were also instructed to take the women. Why do you think they claimed their God said they were to take the women? You got any idea? What would the women's contribution be to this movement? Why at some point they would have said their God told them to slay all the men but to take the women? Anybody? Any answers? You think it was because they were merciful and wanted to spare the lives of the women? No. In my estimation, they took the women because they knew there were going to be multiple fights afterwards. They were going to be losing soldiers left and right. The women, the women were going to be continuously breeding and having children that they would raise and have for war. That was, in my view, that was their purpose, why they took the women and the children in some of their fights. They don't need the men. They don't need the men because the men might put up an opposition against them. So they say, their gods say to slay the men, burn down the cities, take the women and the children. They could indoctrinate the children, and then the women, they could breed. So the women would continue to provide a constant source of humans for the fight. Yeah, but that was what they said their God told them to do. Okay. And they loved moves for it. But later on, if you notice in the New Testament, the generation of people who lived at the time when the New Testament was being written, a lot of those people had questions. It would be just like now, you know, in events that occurred, say 100 years ago. In our time now, 100 years later, we can go back and question those occurrences and, you know, pick them apart and say, you know, why was this happening? Just like how, like, even now, we go back and we pick apart slavery, you know, we pick apart the patriarchy that saw women not leaving the home, women staying barefoot and pregnant all their lives and not being allowed to get an education, not being allowed to vote, not being allowed to have a bank account, and all these things to which men were privy. And you know, we go back and we examine those things, and we come up with ideologies as to why these things happened. You know, what was the thought process of the people then? What was going on socially? Why these laws were put into place and stuff. It's the same way, like the same thing like was happening in the New Testament. The people in the New Testament were like, you know, there were some people questioning what had happened back then when Moses was leading the children of Israel, and you know, what were the things that led him to do the things he did, the things he said. And people were starting to question this whole sacrificing thing and the whole circumcision thing. You know, the Hebrew children, the Hebrew boys had to be circumcised at 8 days old. You know, people were starting to question when Jesus came, according to the Bible, he was not for their sacrifices of animals. And there were some people who readily embraced that new ideology, and then there were others who pushed back, because there were the latter, the people who pushed back, they were concerned about possibly betraying their foreparents, because you see, it had come down from generation to generation to generation that sacrificing animals was an integral part of their existence. Having the little boy circumcised at 8 days old was an integral part of their existence. So they could not see themselves abandoning these practices, because it would seem to them like they are betraying the lessons their foreparents had taught them. So that's where Jesus got pushed back from when it comes to those two teachings. People were not in for it. People would always reference Moses. If you notice in the New Testament, they always reference Moses. You know, their foreparent Moses, their forefather Moses said this, said that, said this, said that. When Jesus and his disciples were walking through the cornfield, and these Gentiles were walking alongside them, the Gentiles were walking alongside them, watching to see what it is that they were doing, so they could say, "Achia, I got you. You're breaking the law. You're breaking the Jewish law." And that's what happened when the disciples were allowed to break the corn on the Sabbath day in the cornfield. Moses' law, exactly decade. When the disciples broke the corn on the Sabbath day, the Gentiles who were there, "I got you. Oh, dare you? Yeah, you're not following Moses' law. How are you allowing your disciples to break corn on the Sabbath day? According to the laws of Moses, on the Sabbath day, neither you, your wife, your husband, your manservant, your maidservant, your children, your ox, your ass, nothing supposed to eat on the Sabbath day. Supposed to talk about you breaking no corn on the Sabbath day. You just broke one of the most fundamental laws of our forefather Moses. We cannot have that." And Jesus calmly said to them, "The people hungry. The people hungry." David went into the synagogue and ate when he was hungry. And even though the roasted food, whatever, roasted lamb, roast goat, whatever that was in the temple from the sacrifices, this food was not supposed to be for everybody. David went in the church. David, me hungry. David ate the food. Like, what's up with this? Yes, Jesus was progressive, exactly. And he brought a sanitized version of their own religion, and they could not accept it because they were holding on to the barbarism to which they were familiar. They were familiar with this, and they would not let it go. But he brought a sanitized version for them. He said, let's be practical here. You're slaughtering them animals for your sin, and every single day you get up, you still a slaughter animal. Every single day you get up, you a slaughter animal. So ask yourself, what is it that is causing me not to be able to maintain purity even after sacrificing these animals? Why every time after you sacrifice the animal, you still go back to being so impure that you have to sacrifice again tomorrow? That you have to sacrifice again the next day? That means your whole life you're just going to live sacrificing animals? He said to heck with that. That's nonsense. And then that's what led to them say, well, Jesus is going to make this one sacrifice. Y'all don't have to sacrifice animals anymore. But the people still couldn't accept it. A lot of them still couldn't accept it. Because how dare he present a different view of their religion? How dare he upend their traditional practices? How dare he? He said, "Me not know we don't know on this circumcision. What is circumcision after picking them? What are supposed to do?" Miss Things Sis, good morning, my love. How you doing? He said, "What is circumcision supposed to do? What exactly is its purpose? What it mean? Why don't you circumcise the little boys 8 days after they were born? What it's supposed to mean to know?" Oh, because according to our forefather Moses said we're supposed to do it. But only not stop and ask yourself if it makes sense. The 2 little inch little boy them I wanna take it away. But I know me say some mistake. Everything that nature has given us for a purpose. And I say it all the time. The foreskin of the little boys is to accommodate their extension during arousal. Notice when a little pitney is circumcised, one little body thump body turn up so like what? They don't have no room to accommodate the extension. But anyway, that's not why we're here. Jesus, y'all don't need it. Don't be doing that. You know. The women not gonna agree with that for too much longer, so we ain't doing that. But anywho, Trev yourself. What you know is that true? Misting. You know it is true. Have you never seen them circles? Have you not seen this circles? No. And they say Moses said, so brother. They say Moses said. But they say Moses said them for circumcised, brother. So them circumcised. And left with. But anywho, we're going to cut. Try to behave yourself this Saturday morning here. Yeah. So anyway, let us continue. We move forward into the revelation. The revelation I'm supposed to talk about, I'm spend 1 hour in a Moses gathering. The revelation now. As we have been reading the revelation for the last few days, we've seen where in the revelation, the revelation to me has presented more questions than answers, if you will. We have seen where John continues to talk about his dreams, and John has had some quite some elaborate dreams. These dreams will drive the fear of everything into you. John, I'm just going to go over a few of John's dreams and, how scary they are. Barry, good morning, my love. How are you doing? I'm going to talk a little bit about John's dreams in the Revelation. I remember me not knowing, guys. I'm just reading and trying to understand this Bible for myself. I don't mind if you all share with me, but I have a problem with those of you who, you get offended. They want to make me know that you are offended. I don't care to know that you are offended. Pass me. Me no care if you're offended by what I'm saying. You understand? If you're offended, this is not the place for you. Take your little time and keep scrolling. I am as sure as there is the sun rising this morning that you will find somebody on the internet somewhere who is preaching to you and telling you to bring yourself and your soul. They are ready to baptize you. This is not the place for you. All right. Barry, what's up? Okay. So with John in the Revelation, John said he had a vision, and in this vision, where's the Barry? Oh, wonderful. I see it. Okay, so John says he had this vision, and he saw heaven open up, and God, he didn't say God, a voice asked him if he wanted to come up and see what heaven looked like? He said yes. He went up, he looked around in heaven. He saw a man sitting on a throne with a crown, with a book in his hand. He saw 24 chairs around with elders sitting on with an elder sitting on each chair. He saw these 4 creatures, with the one with the face of an eagle, one with the face of a lion, one with the face of a man. I think he said the other had the face of a lamb. The case, as I grow older, I question many things. So let me tell you something. In my 50-something years, I have been like a sheep. Let me tell you, just like you. But then we start, I've been questioning a long time. A family member, them always I say, oh, Trev, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because they don't want to hear me. Up until now, I don't even talk to my family members. Many of my family members, but really, I not have them discussion there, because I know how we were raised. I know the principles on which we were raised, and I know how they feel about me questioning. Some of them express it long time from I started questioning 40 years ago, 30 years ago. But some of them just coming into, I never know, say I did so you feel, but okay, well, now you know. Yeah. Modify your approach accordingly. But anyway, so in this revelation here, this is where John said, I'm going to go it as much as I remember. Now, John said, he saw heaven open. He heard a voice that asked him if he wanted to come up and look. He went up there and he looked around. He saw a man sitting on a throne with a crown, a golden crown on his head, and the man held a book. He said he saw 24 chairs and an elder was sitting on each chair. He said he saw 4 creatures. These are in heaven, you know. Remember, I know, in heaven. What, the 4 creatures, one had the face of an eagle, one had the face of a lion, one had the face of a, was it a man, and one had the face of a lamb, something like that. They were wearing these long white robes, and they had these golden things around their loin, and their feet were black like soot, like it had been burnt. And there was a lamb that looked wounded. Yeah, I know I'm say it was metaphorical, but I would like to know what this metaphor mean, what all of these represent. But I'm just saying what John said he saw. There, he said there was what appeared to be a lamb, a wounded lamb in the middle of heaven. There was the book that was in the man who was sitting on the throne's hand. This book had 7 seals, and the seals of this book can be opened, and nobody in heaven, in earth, nor under the earth can read what is in that book. All right? But this lamb, this wounded lamb, went up to the man and took the book. And he took off the first seal of the book. And one of the beasts asked him, John, you want to come see what's in this book? And he went and he looked in the book, and he saw a white horse with somebody sitting on this horse, and the person had a bow and arrow. And this bow and arrow is supposed to do something to mankind. Then this lamb opened the second seal. And one of the creatures asked him, John, you want to come look, see what is in this book? Remember him saying, no, nobody in heaven nor earth, nor under the earth, not supposed to read what's in this book, you know. But he was privy to it. The creature said to him, the beast, as the Bible calls it, you want to come see what's in this book? And he went and he looked in the book. And he saw a red horse. And the man that is sitting on this horse has a responsibility. That's how I must tell him. This man had the responsibility to remove peace, P-E-A-C-E, from men on earth. And this horse's responsibility, not just to remove peace from earth, but also to make us unalive each other. Each seal that this lamb opened on this book revealed something else that was planned for men on earth. Now, if I am supposed to take this dream literally, if I'm supposed to take it literally, my question would be, with the second seal, why would God have a book that in which he has instructions for, I'm going to assume that this horse is his angel, right? Is God's angel. So God has instructions for this particular angel to ensure that his duty is to come to earth and make sure the people on earth, us, make sure we have no peace. We just a fight against each other and a war and unaliving each other. That is the responsibility of that angel. But when we are faced with these wars and these unaliving, who do we cry to? Who do we ask for comfort? Who do we ask for intervention? The same person who had the power to remove the influence of war on us, but has deliberately sent this angel to ensure that we live in war and continue to each other. Me don't know how you don't have no question, but me have a lot. I don't know y'all don't have any questions, but I have a lot. So when God instructs this angel, and this angel has to carry out the instructions of God, and God instructs this angel to go down there, go make sure say Trevor and Harpy them no live good. Go make sure say Decade and him wife no live good. Go make sure say Barry no have no peace in him life. John did eat some and leave him brother and wife too late in the night, plain and simple. You understand? Make sure this angel go down there, go rob everybody of peace. No peace, no love. Them just slay each other left and right. I mean, I go sit down right here, so. Because I know them come to me, come cry. So do you expect that you're going to get comfort from the person who orchestrated your pain? Do you see why we continue in this cycle of death, destruction? Cry to God, it no stop. Death, destruction, bawl to God, it no stop. Death, destruction. You realize it? Oh, Decade is a girl, sorry. You know, she don't have no wife and she don't have no balls. Sorry. Forgive me. Okay. All right. You understand? So guys, you need to change the picture. You know, I didn't press on it to you know, maximize the picture so I could see who it is. Me don't know, me just just assume. That's why you shouldn't assume stuff, you know. You understand? So you understand why we are constantly in this cycle, this never-ending cycle. Have you ever seen anybody who prays to not have any death in their family, to not have anybody in their family get hurt, to not, you know, to have peace? And have you all seen anybody who have been able to exclusively achieve those things? Have you? I have never met a human being who have never experienced these human experiences of pain and loss and hurt. Never. But each time these things happen, we go to the one person and we cry and we beg for mercy and we ask him why. But if we listen to what John says in the Revelation, John says in this book, the same person you're going to cry to ask to make these things not happen, he is the person who's orchestrating for these things to happen to you. Is he taking away wars? No. Is he taking away hate? No. Is he taking away pew-pewings and death? And no. I mean, when I tell me, but Trev, when he comes back, he's going to, that's going to be the end of death. That's a bit wishful thinking. Question, Trev. Is God dreaming or is a freestyle? Barry, I don't know. When you go to bed and you dream, who you think give you the dream? Where you think the dream come from? Me no know. I can't tell. But let me tell you something. John say him dream them something. John went on to claim that in another dream, John say he go back to heaven. So it look like now every night, John dreamed them I carry my heaven. So John now, this one now, the last piece of one that we read there that was rather interesting. Well, another one where he dreamt he saw the seven angels with trumpets, and when each angel blew their trumpet, something happened on earth. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Thing. I appreciate you, my love. Okay, so John says in this other dream, he went up to heaven again, and there were he saw seven angels, and these seven angels each had a trumpet, and when each of them blew their trumpet, something magnificent would happen on earth. You know, when one blew the trumpet, there was something happened with the sea turning into blood, some parts of the sea, something like that. Another one blew a trumpet and there was an earthquake, and another one blew a trumpet and there was fire on the mountain. That tells me that's like a volcano. So I think this was John's way of saying every celestial occurrence on earth originates in heaven. That's what I think his interpretation of it was. Because, you know, when he talked about these angels, and whenever each one of them blew their trumpet, something happened on earth. I believe that was how he interpreted natural events on earth. Okay? But when he got to the fifth angel, when this fifth angel blew his trumpet, a star fell out of heaven, and this star had a key to a bottomless pit on earth. And when the star fell on earth, it opened up this bottomless pit. And out of this bottomless pit came fire and soot and smoke. And in the midst of that fire and smoke that's coming out of this bottomless pit came some locusts. I don't know a locust. Is something that look like grasshopper? Yeah. So came hundreds of thousands of locusts. And these locusts were specially built. Yeah? These locusts, a John dream, you know, but as I tell you, no, John's dream. These locusts had their bodies built like a Trojan horse. Their body built look like shot and sharp. Lord Jesus, let me not call people name for my life. I don't want nobody were, according to John, they were built like horses. They had the face of a man. They had teeth like a lion. They had wings that when they flapped these wings, it sounded like when they flapped these wings, it sounded like 1,000 horses coming to fight. And they had tails. They had tails like a scorpion's tail with a with a sting at the end. Just imagine. Just imagine those locusts. And we know that locusts are vegetarians. But these special locusts that John saw, they're not vegetarian. They have instructions to come on earth and feed on mankind. But guess what? They only are going to feed on us for 5 months. What a dream. They're only going to feed on mankind for 5 months. So I don't know if it is 5 months, them are going to name we off, or them are going to leave us lamed and maimed. I don't know. But according to John, this is something to look forward to. This is something to look forward to. And these locusts going to come out of the bottomless pit of earth. These locusts are come out of the bottomless pit of earth. And come near me now. Miss me with the mess. Anywho, in what John had something to drink before you went. Listen, it's a got dread for true. Hear people say, if you think life is hard, yet wait till you get to Revelation and you hear all the things that are gonna happen to us. I don't know why people continue to have an affinity towards destruction. Why them feel like life has to have all these destruction. Life nothing all these destruction. You don't have to connect on yourself with all these destructive expectations, to live. You don't have to. I'm not connecting myself to these destructive expectations. No, sir. Not I. In a yesterday, in a yesterday's reading, John now, and I yesterday or the day before, John saying go back to heaven. I'm not listen to this another story. Cause John. Listen, Barry. Listen to this one now where John, this had a dream of John. John say, they have a big I need to work on that decade. Let me tell you something. John says, him go up to heaven. You know, hear how this a story I now elaborate. John say he went to heaven. Him see the gate, the door open. Him see the door open. And somebody asked him if he wants to come up, come look. And him say, yes, he wants to go look. And he went up there. And him see the man on the throne again. Him see the elders. Him see the creatures again, the beasts, the 4 beasts. This time, he also saw 7 angels. And he saw Satan. Who me say John say him see up at heaven? Him say him see Satan in the form of one dragon up at heaven. Satan in the form of a dragon. That's what he said he saw in heaven. The same place where I am supposed to believe no sin can enter, Satan can live up there, Satan has no business up there, all these things. John say, he see the man upon the throne, him see the 24 elders, him see the 4 beasts, him see 7 angels, and him see one dragon who is Satan. And he saw a woman in labor getting ready to give birth. He see a woman in labor getting ready to give birth. And as this woman, of course, John sitting. John said, him see the woman getting ready to give birth in heaven. And the man on the throne is waiting for the baby. And the dragon, Satan, is waiting for the baby as well. And the woman travailed in labor and she delivered a boy baby. And as soon as she delivered the boy baby, the person on the throne pick up the baby. Satan never get to pick up the baby. So Satan started fussing with him and the angels. Oh, Satan a reign up at heaven. That him have his own angels up at heaven. And God a reign alongside Satan up in this heaven. And people are telling me, see if you believe what John said him seen a dream. John and I'm too late. John eat too late. Him said this baby, the woman deliver. The man on the throne pick up the baby. Satan get upset that him never get to pick up the baby. So he starts fussing with his angels. So Satan has his own community up in heaven, according to John. Listen. Satan has his own community up there in heaven. Satan starts fussing with his angels. So them not get to get the baby what the woman just delivered. And the man on the throne sends this woman into a wilderness that he had already prepared for the woman. And he had stocked this wilderness with people who have been given instructions to feed this woman for 1,260 days. I know say it metaphorical, but you have to explain it to me. Because I say, I don't know. But I just tell you when I read. Alright? So since you know, you tell me what that's supposed to mean. The man on the throne get vexed and throw out Satan and him angels out of heaven. Come down to earth. And Satan is saying mad. Thank you for the roses, Decade. Satan is pissing mad because God threw him out because him a fuss about not getting his hand on the baby. Barry, all of this for me I tell you is from Revelation. So you start read Revelation and you will see it. Okay. John say when Satan down on earth, him and him angel, he's still trying to get his hands on this woman. He makes after the woman, but remember I say the man on the throne give this woman wings. So the woman a fly away from Satan. And Satan a try to catch her. Him can't catch her. So he brings up a lot of water out of his mouth. And him start to flood the whole earth with this water. So him can't catch this woman who is flying. And the earth intervened and swallowed up all this water that Satan is trying to use to drown this flying woman. So now Satan, because the earth swallow up the water and the water not get to drown the flying woman, Satan makes with the earth, Satan makes with the woman, and Satan decides say all of the woman's generation from henceforth, even forevermore, he's going to torment. Jesus, if I laugh, I cry. It's on decides that from henceforth, even forevermore, he is going to torment the woman's seeds. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. And these are people that say, when you read Revelation, Trev, you're going to be scared. Scared of what? Scared of John's dream? Scared of these elaborate stories that John tell? Somebody say, it's like children. Children have a great imagination. Exactly, because children always be dreaming that they can fly and they can do all they can do all these things. It needs adults around to redirect them, to make them understand that the dynamics of that nature has provided us with does not provide for humans to be able to suspend themselves in the air flying. Okay? But we are going to continue. This Lisa, I'm gonna release that one I want me there so they chat. Mighty God of Daniel. My Lord. Well, I'm going to be reading now. For those of you who are here, good morning. We are going to be we are going to be reading now. We're going to continue with this morning's reading. We're going to be reading Revelation chapters 15, 16, and 17. If you have your book Bible or your Google Bible, you are welcome to read along with us, because I want to hear some more of what John's dreams say. I want to hear some more of John's dreams. Okay. Chapter 15. I tried reading chapter 15 for y'all yesterday morning, but I don't know, so I'm tired. I want to sleep. Like yesterday morning, me not even remember half of when me read say yesterday morning, cause me dey tired. I say no more dreams. Well, apparently the revelation is made up of just dreams from John. So even if we don't want to read his dreams, we have got to read his dreams if we are to remain true to our plan of reading the Bible from the beginning to the end. Okay. So make we see what John says here in chapter 15. John says, and I saw another sign in heaven. I'm sorry. John is in heaven again. John says, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. So in these 7 plagues, these 7 angels, each of them carrying a plague, and these plagues are filled with the wrath of God. The Bible says a whole heap of things about the wrath of God. If you follow the Bible paints God as this angry, cruel, hateful person who delights in unaliving people, just the bloodletting. But anyway, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. Excuse me. Excuse me. Ooh. Ooh. I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't escape that. Sorry. Ooh. I feel like another one is coming. Bless me. Thank you, my love. Let us continue. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire. A sea of glass mingled with fire. And them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Thank you, Decade, for that. What that one? Floating art. We should have known by now. Not you mistake. Heart hands. Heart hands. I remember. Hand heart. Thank you, my love. Let us continue. He says here, in verse 4, it says, Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee. For thy judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked. Remember up at heaven him saying then, he's still in heaven. He says, And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony of heaven was open. And the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. This is the 7 beasts, 7 angels, I should say. These are the 7 angels, okay? And one of the 4 beasts, now remember which 4 beasts I'm talking about. Remember say heaven in gone back, Ivan in same day now. Don't forget the 4 beasts. These were the 4 beasts who were present when he first went to heaven. With the face, that one with the face looking like eagle, one with the face looking like a lion, one with the face looking like a lamb, and one with the face looking like a man. This is the 4 beasts he's talking about. So every time he goes to heaven, he sees these 4 beasts. Okay? So he says, And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of God, who lives forever and ever. So one of the beasts give one of the angel a vial, and in that vial that vial is filled with the wrath of God. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power. And no man was able to enter into the temple. All right, nobody can enter into the temple. The temple is filled with smoke. What? Listen up, Barry. Listen up, Barry. John's dream them too hilarious. But let us move forward. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power. And no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7th angels were fulfilled. No man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. Remember, each angel is going to be given a plague. I guess each plague is supposed to manifest on earth. I don't know, but let us continue. We are on to chapter 16. And I heard a great voice out of the temple. He said no one was able to enter into the temple, till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. Okay. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. So each angel has a vial filled with the wrath of God for the people on earth. And you heard a voice coming out of the temple saying to the angels, Uno go and go pour out a vial of wrath, of God's wrath on the earth. And the first angel went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. That's what happened when the first angel poured out his first wrath. It fell upon the men who had the mark of the beast. But I thought over here in chapter 7, he said the 144 who had the mark of the beast, they were the chosen people. So what they were chosen for, if this wrath of God could be poured out on them, what were they chosen for? Let us continue. He said, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living thing in the sea died. Oh, this was a dream, because I was just gonna ask if after everything that the sea died, if there was a new creation story. Just like, oh, remember with Noah. I mean, I have a lot of questions about Noah, because after the earth was drowned, and every man and every beast and everything in the sea, everything drowned. The sea creature them drowned, everything drowned. And God sent back Noah and his sons and daughters-in-law to come replenish the earth. And I keep asking, where did Noah keep the sea creatures in the ark? Where in the ark did he keep the sea creatures? Because God tell him, say, every creature on the earth, him forget 2 of them. No, not 2 of them. Take them in by pairs, but get 7 of each. But take them in by pairs. So 3 female, 3 male, and 1 odd one. So if God did drown off the whole earth and all the creatures in the sea and everybody, that means he did another creation story, right? To recreate the creatures of the waters. Just asking. Just trying to make sense, or, Oh, there. The ark had a big aquarium. I believe you. I believe it. And just the Bible forget to mention it. But let us move on. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and everything in the sea died. This was a dream. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and was and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. Although I don't plan to be in my general attitude, I have to leave church prematurely. No problem, my love. No problem. I appreciate you. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments, And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. Okay. And the sixth angel, poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. Now we notice the river Euphrates comes up a lot. It's one of the river in the Middle East there. Remember, it was by the river Euphrates. If you all remember when we read the book of Jeremiah, want to remember that it was by the river of Euphrates that Jeremiah said God told him was to bury that linen garment. For those of you who remember, yeah, it was by the river Euphrates. Jeremiah said when God told him in the dream to put on this linen loin cloth of some sort, and he should wear it for, I believe, 10 days, and then when he takes it off, he's supposed to go by the river Euphrates and bury it, and then go back after must be 3 years or something and go dig it up. And when him dig it up and look on it, you will see how marred it is, how dirty it is. That is how he think of the children of Israel. Let us continue. Here the river Euphrates comes up again. It has come up several times in our reading, but here it is again. He says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the river Euphrates, and the water dried up, and the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. Now me see somebody was showing something recently online, and they were saying that some parts of the river Euphrates over there in the Middle East, some parts of the river Euphrates has dried up, and they believe it is John's dream that has come to pass, and all these things. I see people saying there are lots of rivers around the world that are starting to go low on water for various reasons, and one of the reasons is development. Yeah, with all the homes they are building and other buildings that they are putting up, a lot of the rivers, the grounds that these rivers would run through, have been built up. So the rivers have diverted. Some of them have gone under the earth only to come out to resurface at other parts on earth. But it would not be just the river Euphrates drying up. Maybe John just took a long shot at saying that. But he says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial on the river Euphrates, and the water dried up, and the way of the kings of the east, that the ways of the kings of the east might be prepared. To me, this river dry up from time to time. You're right, my love. Okay, but here it says the river dried up that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So is this that he's seeing the kings of the east getting a path to travel, so the river dry up, so they can walk on dry land to get to wherever, to get to the west? I'm sure there is some literature that's connected to this. I just don't know it yet. But it says it dries up that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. Remember, I said heaven in there, you know. In this dream here, he's in heaven. He said 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon. Remember, so one dragon up at heaven there, you know. And this dragon, I believe, is supposed to be Satan, because it's the same dragon that was waiting for the baby when the woman was up in heaven in labor. So now he says he saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils. So I guess this unclean spirit, I mean, one came out of the dragon's mouth, one came out of the beast's mouth, and one came out of the false prophet's mouth. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle, that great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, it was so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. How much is the weight of a talent? A talent is an ancient measurement. But I don't know how much it is in pounds. But we could always Google it. And he says the weight of these stones was about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Excuse me. Excuse me. Have you all noticed that after each of these vials were emptied out on earth, whatever judgment they brought on man according to John, it caused man to blaspheme against God. What kind of blasphemy you think they are talking about? If you see rock stones start come out of heaven, falling on your house, stop falling on your head, are you not going to start cussing? I want the blood. I want this God to do. I want God to do. I want go on. That's what they're talking about. Every time one of those vials was open, and the destruction that was encased in that vial is poured out onto man on earth, they blasphemed. Them a cuss. Them a ask God, how are the blood what go on here so? Where them plague come from, Pawi? What have we done to deserve this? That's what John is talking about. And rightfully so. That's what would have happened if today you walk out a door. When hurricane come, look the other day when that hurricane there hit Jamaica. You know, hear the people them, mighty God, what we do? What I do to we? Alright. Miss Thing say, Google says a talent is about 75 pounds. So imagine you there some 75 pound stone a drop out of heaven. That one thing though, John's imagination is unmatched. Imagine you hearing some 75 pound stones falling out of heaven. What would you do? You going to fall on your house, stop. Your car go and get mashed, the streets, because it's coming down with such force, the streets go and get mashed, everything go and get mashed. 75 pound stones coming down. Let us continue and see what else. What other fears John had prepared to drive into the souls of men. Chapter 17 of the Revelation. If you're just coming into the live, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I sincerely appreciate you. This morning we are reading from the Revelation, chapters 15, 16, and 17. If you are just joining us, we are about to start chapter 17. So welcome. You are here at the right time. Chapter 17. And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me. All right, this is Johnny. Remember saying they are heaven again in this dream, okay? So one of these angels came after they had emptied out their vials and caused all this destruction on earth. One of the angels came to talk with John, saying, "Come here. I will show you the judgment of the great whore." And them a language of them I use I you know. I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away. All right, this is John now, you know. John said this angel, say, I'm going to show him the whore that sits on the waters on earth that is causing men to sin. He says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. Almost the same wilderness where the man on the throne sent the woman who had given birth to the baby. Let's see. He said he carried him away into the wilderness. And I saw a woman. I wonder if I did see a woman. He says, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. I thought like scarlet, not like what I call red color. Scarlet. Hold on. But when the second seal was broken, wasn't it a red horse? Hold on, let's see if they have any connection. Let's read. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the woman of the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Then the whole of that fit on the woman's forehead. And you hear what was written? He said what was written on the woman's forehead? It said, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. All right, that was written on the woman's forehead, according to John. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. The woman was drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And John had great admiration for her. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? The angel said, What is it that makes you in awe, in such awe about this woman? I will tell you, the angel says, I will tell you the mystery of this woman and of the beast that carries her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. So this angel promises to tell John the mystery surrounding this woman that have these 10 heads and 10 horns. This woman that has written across her forehead, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. This woman that is sitting on this red horse. The angel is going to tell John what this woman is all about. The beast that thou sawest, now this is supposedly the angel talking. The angel says to him, the beast that you saw, the beast that you saw was and is not. The beast that you saw, it was there, but it is not. It was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So it's like the beast here, it exists and it not exists and it still will exist. This beast is coming from the bottomless pit. It's going to come from the bottomless pit on earth. Is that the same bottomless pit that was opened when the star of heaven fell with a key and opened it and unleashed fire and smoke and soot and the tons of locusts on man? Is that the same bottomless pit? Is that the same bottomless pit that is going to free this creature here and this red horse? I don't know if it's the same on earth and bottomless pit, but let us continue. He says, let's read chapter 17, verse 8 again. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. All right, here they might explain this metaphor now, this woman with the 7 heads. He says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Hold on, let me see something. Wait there, Miss Thing, Google it for me and see how many countries currently have a female president. How many countries around the world currently has a female president? I want to see something. He says, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. All right. So he said there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. All right. So let me get something. Let me get something right now. So John had this dream thousands of years ago. John had this dream. And in this dream, the angel tells John that this red horse with this 10-headed woman on it represents these, what he said, these 7 kings. He says 5 of them have already fallen, 1 is currently reigning, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue just for a short time. So no want to tell me that this king not come yet? All these thousands of years, John say, is 7 kings they're expecting, according to this angel telling John. They're expecting 7 kings. Alright, according to Google says currently there are 9 women who are rulers, who are the rulers of their country around the world. Okay, thank you for that, my love. I was trying to see something, but yeah. I was trying to see if the number would have been 7. But here the angel tells John there are 7 kings. 5 have already reigned and fallen, whether they were unalived or whatever, but they have already had their turn. 1 was currently reigning at the time when this story was being recorded. And John says there is 1 left to come. For the thousands of years that has passed since John wrote this story, you don't think that king would have come yet? You say we're still waiting for him? For that king? Okay. Alright. Well, John say he is coming. The next king is coming. I think that whatever king that John was talking about, I don't know if I believe John with that king business, but he says that's what the angel told him up in heaven. And the beast that was and is not, that's the beast that this 10-headed woman is riding on. He says, and the beast that was and is not, Even he is the eighth, and is of the seven, and goes into perdition. And the 10 horns okay, remember it was 7 heads and 10 horns. And the 10 horns which you saw represent 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, all right, this is the angel talking. No. John says, the angel said unto him, and he said unto me, the waters which you saw, where the whore sat, are people. Okay. All right. So this water, this angel is telling him the water represent people. Remember he said there was when the angel, when this angels pour out vials, one of the vials, when he poured it out, he saw water, the waters of the earth, people sitting on the water. He said, now this represents people. Let's read that again. Verse 13 says, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. They shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, the waters which you saw, where the whores sat, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Hold on, let me go back, go read chapter 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, come here, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. Here in chapter 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. In 15 it says, the waters that you saw, where the whore sits, are people. Okay, so the whore they are talking about in chapter 17 verse 1 represents people. It says people sitting upon the water. I'm just going to say it as it is. Verse 16, he says, and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will. and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So all of these things that would have happened to man after these angels poured out their vials on earth would have had to happen because whatever is in these vials represents God's wrath. Why it couldn't represent God's peace? Why it couldn't represent God's love? That when them pour out these vials, we get a showering of love, an abundance of food and water and people and grace and all these things. Why it had to be that these 7 vials contain God's hatred for man. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is that great city. So the woman represents, here trying to explain the metaphor for us, He's saying here, and the woman which you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. All right. Which great city now that reigns over the kings of the earth? Which great city they claim to be? Which great city that claims to be the greatest city on earth, the greatest country on earth, the country to whom everybody else look for guidance and direction? He says this city is responsible for everyone else, everything else. It says it reigns over the kings of the earth. Which city that, people? Which country that? Which country has heightened themselves to being the world's police, to being responsible for every decision that is made all over the world? They want to have a hand in everything. They want to know what's going on, why it's happening, and who is responsible. Which country that is? I thought just as much as you that is the country. Misting, I thought just as much. Okay? It says here, for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is she is that great city. She represents that great city. Remember I said the woman had 7 heads and 10 horns. She represents a great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. I don't know which part of US I can attribute to those 7 heads and 10 horns, but I'm going to say it might be policies. It could be anything. If we were supposed to replace that woman with the US and say, well, this woman they're talking about, since they say it is a great city, it could be construed as the US. I don't know. I'm not saying yay and I'm not saying nay. But Christians say the Bible, especially Revelation, is a metaphor. It's written metaphorically, and so the events in it there are different representations that are assigned to each of these events that are spoken of in the Revelation. We are going to continue. We are going to continue with the reading of the book of Revelation. We have 18, 19. Tomorrow we can read 18, 19, and 20, and the next day 21 and 22. Okay, so we are going to continue with the reading of the Bible. We may have 10 minutes before I lose charge. We are going to continue with the reading of the Bible as we have been doing, and we will continue to evaluate all that John has to say in in this revelation here. All of John's dreams, because people say this is prophecy, that when John went up to heaven, the angels showed him around and showed him what was to be, what was going to happen on earth, and all these things. I don't know how plausible those things are, but according to the Bible, that is what is said. That is what John is saying. He got the privilege of going up to heaven and having the angels tell him what was going to happen to the earth, and he has subsequently documented it metaphorically in what we now have as the Revelation. All right, when we come back tomorrow, we will continue with the reading of the book of Revelation. We'll be reading chapters 18, 19, and 20. See if 20 long. Or 18 and 19. Yes, when we come back tomorrow, we will be reading Jeremiah, Revelation chapters 18 and 19. Yeah, 18 and 19 will be good tomorrow. All right. I want to say thanks to everybody who came into the live this morning. Those of you who hit the like button, those of you who tap your screen. My dear friend Decade there, I appreciate you. Thanks for the heart. Thanks for the roses. Thank you for the taps, my friends. I appreciate you. Miss Thing, thanks for handling the chat for me. Barry and everybody else who came into the live, I want to say thank you so much for having come. I sincerely appreciate you. Join me again tomorrow morning, same time, same place, when I will continue with the reading of the Bible as I try to conquer this quest of finding out what is in the Bible and how its contents. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Thing. I appreciate it. And how its contents. I thank you for that hand heart, my love. You see, that's why I always say my granny always say better if you walk for little something than sit down for nothing. I appreciate it, my love. So that's where we are going to end this morning, guys. Until next time. This is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, guys. I'll see you all in a little bit. We're going to make breakfast in 10 minutes. Okay? I'll see you later, my friends. Oh, I have to charge my phone.